Hello and welcome back. We are once again continuing on with our salamander paint tutorial here. Last time we did some of these kind of free-handed flames on the legs there, and the more I kind of look at them, the nicer I think they kind of turned out. Definitely still a little bit of cleanup that I want to work on with that, but as far as, kind of a good starting point, I'm pretty happy with it. We are going to go ahead and before we finish with those, we are going to get started on the shoulders as well. And I believe we're going to start with this Mephiston red, which is how we did it last time, and then we're going to layer the orange on top. And then once we're done with the shoulders, we're going to move on to a third color, which is going to be a yellow. And hopefully we can kind of make that naturally kind of look like it's going from, the outer edges of the fire there to like the inner kind of where it's going to be the hottest. At least that's the goal anyway. And actually, I went for the bigger brush there first, but I think we're going to use this size 0. Maybe. There we are. And I kind of want to do this just to be a little bit more kind of careful about how much we cover here, because these shoulders are kind of a little bit more of a smaller area. So with this, our Mephiston red, of course, we are going to make sure it is decently thinned, and we're just going to go straight into it. Now, I've seen plenty of kind of markings where people do like the flame in the middle. I kind of want to keep this theme going where it's kind of like rising up and just encompassing it in total. I don't know how good it's going to look, but we're going to start here in the corner. Actually, let me see if I can't hold this a little better because my hands are shaking like crazy today. It's rather unfortunate, but sometimes that's just the way things go. I don't really have much control over that. And unfortunately, I'm not using my paint handle once again. But we managed to power through it last time, so I'm hoping that we can do it again just as easily. We'll try to rearrange my grip here, see if that makes it any better. And the way that this black is on here, it's actually making the light reflect in a weird way, so it's kind of hard to see the middle of this. So we'll try to kind of adjust that as we go forward, but I don't really have like a predetermined kind of style that I want to go with this. I just kind of want to make it look like the flames are rather sporadic even, and hopefully not as uniform as the other, or as the one leg ended up looking. And let me change this around so that I don't get it all over that edge there. And again, this doesn't look too pretty, but it is kind of just a base layer. I am going to fill it in, but the majority of it really isn't going to matter too much, other than kind of the outside edge, because it's just going to get covered up with our orange and then covered up again with our yellow. So let me thin down a little bit more because I didn't put nearly enough on my palette, and we'll come in right back again and do the exact same thing, but just kind of fill in all the little gaps we missed. And again, I don't know how great this is going to look. This is my pretty much first time freehanding in general, but I think so far we've done a pretty decent job. I'm not too disappointed in it yet, so however, that's subject to change as we kind of wrap it up and, do our multiple layers on top. And I don't know what it is today, but I cannot get a good thickness going with our paint here. I don't know whether I'm just not putting enough on my palette or whether my brush is drying out too quickly, but I'll try to kind of adjust that going forward. That's a little bit better there. I also want to kind of mention real quick, we just got to 100 subs, which is kind of crazy. I never really imagined getting more than like a handful. And I know, like, in the grand scheme of things, 100 may not seem like a lot, but it's more than I ever imagined I would ever get. So I do want to kind of have a big shout out, big thank you to all of you guys who not only are subbed, but everyone who watches in general. It does give me great dopamine to kind of see all of you guys enjoy it. And also, just on a quick side note, a lot of people have been leaving some really great comments recently, and it's really, it's heartening, I guess. The opposite of disheartening. I don't know if that's a proper word, but it sounds good to me, so we'll go with that. It fills me with great joy to see that you guys are enjoying this, and some of you guys are even kind of getting some takeaways from what I do. Maybe some new techniques or trying out some new paint jobs. Anything like that really brings joy to my heart. So I don't want to harp on it too much, but I did just want to shout it out real quick. You guys are awesome, and really, I cannot thank you enough for all of the support and kind words. It means a ton to me. I would also like to shout out that this specific playlist or series, I guess, whatever you want to call it, our Salamanders video in general have been doing pretty good. It really seems like a lot of you guys are enjoying these Salamanders, so I am happy to kind of finish this up for you guys. I think just because of how long this freehanding is taking, we'll probably do one more video after this, but I really think we're getting kind of close to wrapping up, and I don't want to drag things out more than I have to. But with that being said, I do want our models to look good, and I do want to, take the time to really appreciate each job we do here. So I definitely don't want to rush things, but with that being said, it's a definite balancing act. And as that kind of dries, we will do a quick kind of cleanup job on our bolter here. I kind of said I was going to do it off camera, and then I forgot about it. I've been sick for a few days, unfortunately, which sucks, but that's the nature of the beast. I work in a hospital with many sick people every day, so my odds of getting sick are pretty high compared to the average person, unfortunately. And that also means I kind of missed a few days. At one point, I promise, I had a backlog of videos, and unfortunately, it wasn't a very big backlog, but it did mean I could miss a few days and still kind of upload. And then I got sick like 2 weeks ago, and that backlog kind of ran dry, and then I didn't expect to get sick again so soon, so I never got a chance to really fill that gap, so to speak. So I do want to apologize for missing, I think this is going to be like 3 days now, which sucks. I really hate it. It turns out YouTube hates it as well. It really kind of messes with your algorithms, which I don't really care for as much. Obviously, I want the channel to grow and everything, but it's really not my main concern. I just like making content for you guys. And yeah, so I do just want to apologize if anyone's especially mad that I've missed a few days. I promise I'm trying to do my best, but I also don't want to record while I'm coughing and sneezing every 2 seconds. I feel like you guys would hate that even more. So I also didn't mention, I'm so sorry, I'm wrapped up in talking today. We are using Balthazar Gold again. Just to kind of clean up that bolter, and real quick, I also want to do another layer on his Imperialis, not an Aquila. Yeah, Aquila. I think that's how we settled on saying it. It's definitely a weird word, but that is the double-headed eagle. The skull with the wings is an Imperialis. So there you go. Hopefully, I never have to use that word again, because I still don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. It's a weird one. And my mastery of the English language is not good, so I don't want to stretch it to its limits if I can avoid it. And a little bit of cleanup. We should be good to go now. Really, this paint job in specific is pretty simple compared to most. I know like we're doing freehanding and all these little details and stuff, but like an average paint or Space Marine for me, I'm using like, I don't know, 8, 9, maybe 10 paints in total. But with this one, I'm using like 6, so definitely not used to that. Even though we are doing 3 different paints specifically just for these decals, which is kind of weird to think about. And I almost forgot it again. We're going to be moving on to our Troll Slayer Orange. That's going to be kind of our second layer. It's going to be a little bit smaller than the red. And this will kind of get us with that illusion of kind of having like burning flames. Obviously it'll be hotter towards the center. And I forgot this was a layer paint, so it's super thin. I put water in it. We'll work with it. We'll do a couple layers if we have to. But with this, and this is kind of trickier than our first layer even, because now we want to do pretty much the same pattern we did, but we don't want to go as far out as the red is, because we don't want to cover it up entirely. We just want to kind of follow it without overextending. We want to make it look like the orange is smaller than the red, I guess is a much easier way of saying it. And let me turn us around a little bit so my shaky hands get a little bit better as we kind of get to the edge here. It's actually a lot easier than I kind of anticipated. And I think I kind of like it being not as thick. It kind of shines through a little bit, the red does. But I think once we get our next layer mixed in, it's going to kind of give us a cool effect. Hopefully, right? That's the dream. And if I could hold this properly, I promise I'm doing my best here. It's a mix of being sick and just having overall clumsiness, but sometimes that's just the cards we're dealt, unfortunately. We want to do the exact same thing on this side. We might even come back with red in a minute and kind of clean up that top edge there. I don't know if you can see it too well with that light glare, but it does look a little bit patchy. Maybe we even get a little bit closer with our orange just to kind of make it look more normal. And we want to do the exact same thing, kind of get as close to the edge as we can without covering that red entirely. And unfortunately, let's see if I can't fix this real quick. There's a little bit of orange that dried on there, kind of weird. And I'm hoping I can kind of salvage that. Maybe not. Hoping with a little bit of water on there, it'll kind of naturally spread it out a little bit, but I kind of doubt it, to be honest with you. That's unfortunate. And let me get just a little bit more orange on our palette. I want to do one more quick, good lord. I'm struggling today. I'm so sorry. I just want to do another quick layer kind of closer to the bottom of this. That way it's solid enough that in case our yellow isn't really solid, because I've never used this yellow before, I don't want the underlayer underneath looking kind of weird, but as it's closer to the edge, we'll let it be kind of patchier. That way it gives us a little bit more texture almost. And we'll do the same thing back over here now that this is dried. And overall, this is going well so far. I don't have any major complaints. But the question is, if we do another layer, will it still look good? That is the million-dollar question. Here's hoping. This is another thing I'm just remembering now. I said I was going to clean up that little bit of red that's right there, because I don't want it going all the way to the edge. I don't know if I said I was going to do that off camera, but as you can obviously tell, that's something I did not do. So, full apologies. And actually, let me take a little sip real quick, because my throat is super dry now. We are moving on to our next color. This is going to be Avalanche Sunset. I actually don't think I've even opened this paint pot before. Nice little creak as I do it, and it needs to be shaken. Sorry about that. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but it is a brand new full paint pot, so the noise you get from it is exceptional. It gives me great dopamine, but maybe I'm just weird like that. We'll dry off our brush a little bit, because I'm sure this is going to be pretty thin, as our light colors tend to be. And making sure we don't put too much on our brush, we're going to come right back in and pretty much do the same thing we did with that orange, and just make sure that we get a solid covering kind of in the same exact way, just a little bit lower down. And we might even come in with one more color. Maybe we'll do like a really thin layer of white and we'll see if we can't do like a really small little strip at the bottom to make it look like it's extra bright right at the base. And once that dries, we'll kind of see how it looks. Maybe we'll throw some like neon oil over it or something to really darken it. Because right now it does look pretty bright, and I don't know if I'm really happy with that. It's I think the colors I've used are just a little bit too much. I do like the overall look of it, but it's just a little bit kind of distracting, to say the least. So we'll see if we can't dull that down. I think the red is perfect. The orange is kind of close to what I want, but this yellow is very, very bright, and it's unfortunately the only yellow I have. So we are going to roll with it. It does look a little bit better down on the legs. Maybe it's just because there's much less like surface area it's covering. Um, but overall, I think the shoulders do need a little bit of work. And let me even go a little bit higher here. It doesn't look like it's really coming out too much. Perfect. Now, I don't know if I have neon oil on my desk. I do have some Agrax Earthshade. We might just try that instead. But before we do any of that, I do want to clean up this leg real quick. So let me clean my paintbrush. And we're going to dry it properly because we're going to be using another layer paint. And I don't want to make the same mistake I just did. Give this a good shake as well because it's a bright color. They tend to separate much more when you're not using them. And of course, this is our Warpstone Glow. If you've seen any of our other parts, I think I've used it in every single one now. Obviously for our base layer. So we are going to be taking a bit of this, and we do have a little bit more cleanup to do besides this, so we might knock that out real quick as well. And I don't know if I'll be able to really show you properly. My angle is like here is perfect for me. Showing it while I do it is like here, so it's a little bit of a weird spot. But I do want to clean up that leg. It's probably going to take multiple layers, but you can see it's already looking much better with that cleaned up just a little bit. And of course, we've made a little bit of a mess on some of the other parts, just as we've naturally been painting, so I want to clean up as much as that as we can. I don't know what it is today. I think it's the fact I'm still just a little bit under the weather, but man, I cannot talk to save my life. It is rough. And of course, my voice isn't doing the best either. It's unfortunate, but I'm powering through. We will at least do this. I might record one more episode in this batch. I just don't want to ruin my voice entirely halfway through, a 20-minute episode, and then I have to sit there for 10 minutes trying to talk without a voice. That'll be really awkward, so I want to avoid that. But we'll get a little bit more on our palette here. I don't want to use too much just because we're doing some minor stuff, but I often run out of paint, unfortunately, because I never use enough. And we'll do just all these little bits that really didn't get the proper coverage that it needed the first 4 times we did our base layers. And of course, as always, I don't know if you can even see it, but the back of the backpack never gets covered until we really go in here and make sure we get it purposefully. It's kind of the problem with using bigger brushes. You get a lot more coverage, and it's much quicker to do your base coats and your base layers or whatever. But they don't. The problem with big brushes is you really can't get all of these little tiny recesses. You really have to get in with a small brush and really focus them down. So that's kind of something to keep a open mind of. So kind of use a mix of both for both speed and making sure you get everything. Otherwise, you're going to end up with a bunch of little spots like these, and you got to go in and do it manually after the fact, and it's annoying and awkward. But easy enough to fix. Do not worry. And I think, as I kind of take a quick glance over everything, we are going to come back and do that leg real quick. And then I think we're just about done for this one. When I first started this part, I thought, oh, maybe we can knock out this whole model in just one episode. I really didn't think the decals and everything were gonna take quite as long as they did, but unfortunately, that's just how it goes sometimes. Things don't really go to plan. I think next time though will definitely be our last part. We'll come back. We'll do some washes. We'll focus on all the tiny little details that still need done, like the eyes and then the silver for, the backpack and everything. And then that should be it. We might even touch the base a little bit. It's still kind of bright, but honestly, with overall how bright our mini is, I might just keep it. It kind of works. We'll just do a wash over it. I don't know. We'll see. As always, I do want to shout out. Sorry, as my voice leaves, I guess now it's a great time to stop. I want to shout out. I have a Patreon. If you guys enjoy my content and you want to support my channel, please do check that out. It's not something you have to do. I'm not like begging for you to do it. I can get fine just by on my own. But the more you guys support that, the more models we can get and the more videos I can do. So they're going to come out regardless, but if you want more videos coming out quicker, maybe kind of look into that. Otherwise, as always, like, comment, subscribe, that whole thing. Really, really, I love comments. I love your guys' feedback, suggestions. If you guys want like commissions, that's something I'm also open to. I'll start like adding my, what do you call it? Channel email into the descriptions. So if you want to kind of reach out and work on something like that, let me know. I'm definitely open for that sort of thing. I don't have like set pricing or anything because I've never really done something like that before, and I don't know if anyone is interested. So we'll kind of play it as it goes. Other than that, I do want to thank you guys very much for watching. It means a ton to me, and hopefully I will see you in the next episode.